conquer their fears forever in 3 to 6 months. At the end, it's about building a habit. We have the habit of seeing fear and running away, or even not seeing it, but kind of feeling it and running away and just try to do something else that is more comfortable. And it's about building the habit to do the opposite, building the habit of, if there is fear, I look it in the eyes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mindset Simplified. And this show is going to introduce you to those best world experts who actually kind of mastered the mindset in tasting the success much faster and also helping a lot of people in that process. And you can pick up these nuggets from, all these knowledge nuggets from these people and then use it in your life and then make sure you have the control over the mind and get all that you want from the life and get the success much faster. And today's guest is a very special guest. And he has been a modern monk. And then he spent more than 13 years in helping thousands of people in overcoming fear and so many other limitations who have actually tried to get into the ladder and, got stuck in the limitation. He helped them to get to where they want to. And he also is an author of a book called Happiness is Easy. And I want you to definitely read that because that's really very interesting book. And most important thing, one of the most prized possession that he has is called FearHacking Method, which he invented on how you can hack the fear so that you express your life more fully. And ladies and gentlemen, help me to introduce our very, very special guest, a philanthropist, social entrepreneur, investor, and entrepreneur, Loto Vázquez. Hi, Loto. How are you doing?
Very well. Thank you very, very much, Rajesh. It's such an honor to be here. And thank you very much, you watching this, for having the honor to share with you, and with humbleness and a radical commitment to give as much value as possible within these minutes that we'll spend together. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And me and our audience are really excited to get to know something. What is this fear hacking method? Can you please share with us what is this fear hacking method and
Absolutely.
how it has come into the life?
Absolutely. And from the beginning, I want to say that just for being here, everyone who is part of this, a guest of Rajesh, is going to have access to a workshop on this method that is valued at 87 euros. I don't know what is the conversion into your currency. 87 euros, and it's walking you step by step into this method that we are going to be speaking about. My pleasure, and I'm sure the link will be around this interview
in the description
somewhere, so you just follow it. So the fear hacking method was born in a way when I was 3 years old.
Oh my
Bear
God,
with me, it's not gonna be so long, the story, but the key points is, when I was 3 years old, I was a happy kid, like luckily, like most young kids. Um, when when I was 10 years later, I was 13. As you can see, my maths are amazing. And why I'm mentioning this age, because when I was 13, and this is also pretty common, not in universal, but pretty common, I started to have my first human crisis. I was starting to become a teenager, and I started to realize that the adults around me didn't expect it from me anymore to be just happy to be myself, to explore the world. Somehow the adults around me expected from me to become one of them. Now, what is so terrible about it? Well, what is so terrible is that I had not even one model, and my parents were pretty open-minded, and my surroundings were, but not one of them was a truly happy human being. None of them. So the invitation somehow in my mind looked like I'm invited to go into this gray world, while I'm coming from this full colorful world. So I need to leave color to go into gray. That wasn't really excited. So I started to do everything that was forbidden, like being rude to my parents and professor, taking bad grades, taking drugs, even selling drugs, being super young. Did that help? Not really. So 3 years later, my mom didn't know what to do with me and sent me 13,000 kilometers away to Cordoba, Argentina, where my father was living in a spiritual and personal growth community. And in just 2 weeks of being there with a different surrounding, a more mindful, a more conscious surroundings, I had for the first time what Abraham Maslow, the psychologist from Stanford University, called peak experience. And
Hmm.
that is an experience that he said, and most masters in in India and around the world have talked about this, uh, is when we are truly present. And and suddenly the past and the future vanish or become way less heavy, and the present becomes more engaging and more alive, and the fulfillment comes naturally with it. And I had that, and since that moment I had these 2 seconds of experience awakening me. First, I know this experience from when I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
It was normal back then. Second, nothing has changed around me in the last 5 minutes, but everything has changed inside of me and my experience of the world in these few minutes. Something that has changed in my consciousness. Third, maybe if I become stubborn enough, I can make this experience permanent. And fourth, if I find a way, I'm going to share with as many people as possible. And that's why I'm here right now, 21 years plus after that. But not only that, that led me to study philosophy in college, that led me to study Gestalt psychology, that led me to study meditation, and studied so much that I became a monk of a practice of meditation with origins in the East, but I learned it in the West. And that led me to keep studying and keep and writing that book that you mentioned, Happiness is Easy, and keep finding ways to reach more people with more impact, with to truly awaken in them that ability to live in heaven, to live in heaven now. And in that journey, when I was already a monk for 5 years plus, um, yeah, more like close to 10 years, one afternoon, my wife came. Yeah, I was a monk, but I was married. It was a kind of a different concept of how strict is brahmacharya, or it was, yes, we needed to use intimacy as a way to keep discovering consciousness, not as a distraction from that exploration of the inner
Wow.
present
Okay.
moment. Uh, the case being, and this is the last part of the story, but maybe the most impactful one, possibly, my wife came into our house and take me from the hand and led me to the garden, and it was in Tarragona, in the close to Barcelona in Spain, overlooking the Mediterranean. And she looked into my eyes with her amazing big green eyes and said, "I love you, and we are finished." And I can laugh now. I promise I wasn't laughing at that moment. I was like, ah, what the hell is going
Oh
on?
my God.
Uh,
Uh,
of course, I didn't even believe it at the first moment. I thought it will pass. Uh, then I started to digest it. It did happen. She actually left that afternoon, never came back. But what that helped me realize is my life wasn't working as well as I wanted it to work. And then I realized it wasn't only that aspect of my life. It was also my fitness. It was my finances. It was my relationship with my mentor and with my peer. There were the main areas of my life weren't as full on as I wanted them to be. I started to take more action. I started to get more results until again there was this inner invisible force that will get me by the throat, metaphorically, and will pull me back.
hmm.
And then is when I realized I just was afraid. I was afraid to do really what was most powerful and will be more valuable for the people around me and myself. Um, so that was the biggest kick in my ass that I have got, and it came through my ex-wife now. But that led me to realize I needed to conquer fear if I really wanted to be fulfilled and free. That led me to researched that, and I actually found a way that it was extremely simple that anyone with enough hunger could do, and that I've been simplifying since I fully mastered it myself, which was December 2018. And now it's way much simpler. And everyone who I have the honor to work with, they conquer their fears forever in 3 to 6 months. At the end, it's about building a habit. We have the habit of seeing fear and running away, or even not seeing it, but kind of feeling it and running away and just try to do something else that is more comfortable. Excuse me. And it's about building the habit to do the opposite, building the habit of, if there is fear, I look it in the eyes.
Hmm. I mean,
And I tell the
it's really
fear with the
amazing.
boss.
It's really amazing, right? The way that you actually built, from your pain. This is one thing I've noticed in many of the people, right? Now you said you took your pain as a motivation to actually find a solution. And I see literally people from all across the world, from all walks of life, they take the fear and they allow the fear to stop them, even to really understand whether it is really a fear or not, right? I mean, like you said, you have to see literally from the people, they just kind of walk away and the fear continue to block them, right? So
Mhm.
what do you suggest where these people should start, right? Because one thing is very clear, fear is one of the biggest devil on the earth. So where do they start? Because they are conditioned for so many years to run away or to just kind of pause.
Mhm.
Where do they start?
Right, yes. Start in fearhackingmethod.com is the link that we have somewhere around, and they can do that workshop step by step. And is not a absolutely not a trick to bring people um, into my business. I mean, it's definitely a way to connect. But that workshop is amazing because you mentioned, is it really fear or not? That's a really good point. There is, in one way, in one hand there is fear, and that it's here, and in the other hand there is danger, and
Hmm.
danger, it's out here. Danger is real, risk is real. It is a dangerous world. There is a danger to fall in love, and that's gonna have consequences. There is a danger to fall to the floor, and there is gonna be consequences. There is a danger to use a car or a motorbike and have an accident. There is a danger, but fear is here. We don't live unhappier lives or a more unfulfilling or more limited because of danger. Danger is an stimulus. Danger is part of the adventure that we live in. Fear, it's absolutely useless. Like, absolutely useless. With fear, we contract our posture. We tend to contract more our shoulders and our back. We contract our chest. We contract our breathing. So we start to feel less. As soon as there is fear, actually, as soon as there is any negative emotion, we tend to contract and breathe less and feel less. And what happens with that is we are less alive because we are feeling less. And that's not cool. It's normal. Almost everyone is living like that, but it's not freaking cool because we are living half death and we are gonna die. Even you and me. We are really cool. Well, that
Yes.
wasn't really humble, but, but we are gonna die. Everyone, you watching, we are all gonna die. And unless we live fully, I believe we will be dying for real, like in our final breaths, and we will regret that we didn't conquer our minds to the degree that we could be really alive for ourselves. I'm wearing this T-shirt that says "Fear Hacking Tribe." Let me
Whoa, okay. Wow, it looks amazing. You're hacking tribe. Okay.
Yeah, I will need to wear it for the occasion. um, and but really, either we conquer everything that is limiting us, or we are not giving neither us, neither the world as much as we can. And that's sad. Why? Because I believe we can. I know it may sound utopic, but I believe we can fully transform this world in together make this world be heaven on earth. I know it sounds utopic, but think about it. It's not that much. We have the technology, we have the knowledge, of how to transform the world, and we have the knowledge on how to transform ourselves or really awaken the most loving, intelligent, proactive aspect of ourselves. We just need to learn and implement, and really one step at a time realize that we are in this together, that you do something, I do something different, but we are all playing in the same direction, which is spreading goodness and sustainability. And so the next generations can live in heaven instead of in this crazy world that we have built together. But also, maybe even more important, as soon as we realize, as the first step of this 4-step workshop that we've mentioned already 2 times says, it's clarifying what is your purpose. Because really, fear, it's only relevant if you know what you really want. If you don't know what is your purpose, if you don't know why really are you here in the world, conquering fear is not necessarily going to be good, because you are going to be more powerful, but more powerful without direction, it can be more messy. There is this guy who said this cool sentence, Alex Mandoshan, a genius marketing, but a genius human being. He used to say, there is nothing worse than running enthusiastically in the wrong direction. And if you are fearless, or if you can conquer fear, you are going to be unstoppable. Literally, if nothing stops you here, really nothing stops you in this world. This world has no real walls. When you want something and you want it fully, and you know you are capable of learning whatever it takes to be able to find the resources to move in that direction, the world is yours. It is. And the more you do it, the more power you have, and the more connections and the more support. But if you don't know what is your purpose, you may become too powerful in a direction that is never gonna fulfill you, because it's not your sacred direction. It's just a direction that you have learned. So that's the first step of the workshop. And then how to become the version of yourself that will manifest or make that life happen for sure. And then what are your main 3 fears or inner obstacles that are not allowing you to be that version of yourself that will inevitably fulfill that purpose. And then we explore more the fear hacking method itself, and it's all about expansion and contraction, as I mentioned before. Every time we are experiencing fear, doubt, or any negative emotion, we are contracted, and that's when our power and our intelligence and our hearts contract. And then we are less powerful and less purposeful.
Means, see, one of the thing I see this, right? At least even within the, so many communities that I've seen, even including India, one of the biggest fear, even to even join to something called fear hacking method, what they think is, oh my God, what my neighbor will think. Their fear of the neighbor. And even till date, right? I talked to my dad, and he still thinks if he wants to set up something, anything new, he thinks, what happens to, I'm in this village and everybody is there, they respect me. What would happen if I do this? What will others think, right? The fear of judgment is literally blocking so many people in so many of their endeavors, right? Now, like I said, even to join to fear hacking method, some people might have, oh my God, how they will judge me, right? See, first and foremost thing, I feel they need to actually break that barrier. Literally, they need to crush that fear of judgment, right? Do you have anything specifically, fear itself is manufactured, like you said, right? It doesn't exist. We create it and we start suffering within ourselves. But specifically, fear of judgment is inculcated in the culture all over the world, more so in some of the countries. What do you suggest? At least to think, I mean, I see you were calling yourself as a rebel, but I call you as a real, because you're being yourself. When you actually, you started becoming your real self, so that whether somebody likes or they don't like it is up to their problem. So how did you deal with, and what is your suggestion for the people to really, how do they start dealing with this fear of judgment?
But yes, I love it because you are super aware of the dance of fear, and you are touching one of the main points. Like I've been doing this fear hacking workshop that now all of all of you guys have access in a recorded version, but it's super powerful, and and I've been doing this in quite a few countries already. Even while the pandemic was going on, we've been doing this more online, obviously, and that is for sure one of the most spread fears. And the thing is, that fear of judgment, of being judged by your neighbors, being judged by your parents, being judged by your spouse, or at least the person that you like, um, it's all a reflection of us judging ourselves. That judgment, it's already integrated and it's part of ourselves. We heard those judgments from society, from television, from our parents, from family, and we've learned to carry them with us. So we are thinking, what are others gonna think? But it's really because we are already thinking bad about ourselves. Um, the advantage, though, is that once you conquer one fear, you conquer all of them. What do I mean with this? That is at least the approach of the fear hacking method. Like, yes, all of them are different. It's different to be fear of judgment, as you mentioned, or being afraid of hates, or being afraid of um, lacking resources, which are it's another one of the most common ones, or being afraid of being abandoned by the people you love the most, or being betrayed. Um, they are different, but luckily they are really all the same. They are just contracted and stuck energy, every fear and every negative emotion. So the good news is, if you really learn to conquer one, you learn to conquer all of them. If you understand that every time you are in fear, no matter what is the object of that fear, or any negative emotion, whether sadness, whether uh, ira, whether being angry, wherever it is, there is contracted and stuck energy. And with that, there is contracted and stuck posture, and there is contracted breathing, and there is possibly contracted jar, like.
Okay.
And if you realize this and you expand your energy, for example, by expanding your posture, by expanding your breathing. I mean, why almost every master on earth talks about breathing? Because it really changes your whole state. And there is so many ways you can expand. You can expand dancing, you can expand watching a few minutes of an inspiring podcast or YouTube channel. You can expand by drinking water. You can expand by drinking wine. Of course, it's expansive to a certain degree. Maybe if you go too far with it, then it's not expansive; it's contractive. But there is so many ways that you can expand yourself. You can expand with a hug. You can expand with a kiss. You can expand talking to someone that you love. If you master expanding, you've mastered your fears and you've mastered your power and your life, and you will live your purpose. Now, this is easier to be said than to be done. Why? Because we've been programmed unconsciously since we were born. Why? Because we've absorbed, especially in the first few years of our lives, we've absorbed everything we've seen. And this world is not filled yet with just purpose filled. Hopefully, yes. Hopefully you are watching this 20 years from now, and now the world is already heaven on earth. Hopefully that's the case. And you are like, wow, it was a weird world back then. But in the
Yeah.
moment we are recording this, at least until I went to bed yesterday night, uh, this wasn't a world where everyone is walking around living their purpose, loving us as extremely, as radically as they can themselves and the people around them. And so being contracted is a norm. It's not natural. If you look at babies, they are
All over
expanded in their
expanding.
posture, they are expanded in their breathing. It's not by chance. That's our natural state. That's what I'm trying to say. We were born to be expanded. We were born to walk fearlessly, and we did. But then we absorb from society. Society back then, when this video was recorded, in 2021, this was a fucked up world in many ways. But there was love. There was deep and endless love waiting to be awakened in human beings, and we are working on it. And and the ways to master expanding energy, expanding that love, expanding this energy that is always available. And it is a trip, but once you master it, once you build a habit, science says it takes any time between 18 days and 254 days to build a new habit. The most popular idea is 21 days. And luckily, not every habit takes only 21 days to be built. Some habits, like facing fear, may take longer. But hey, it's still less than a year. Once you build a habit, that habit stays with you forever. And it's going to fill your life with success, truly, in every corner of your life. I've been transforming my finances, my body, my relationships, my lifestyle, everything that was limited before I started with this. It's transforming, and I'm just starting. I discovered or mastered this only 2 years ago. Give me a decade. Actually, when you are watching this, 20 years from now, you'll know. But I'm only one example. Every person that I'm working with, some people, like I have two ways to work. One is uh, all online, and then it's more like do it yourself, and that is definitely for everyone. When I'm working with people more closely, um, all of them, they've been in personal growth at least for 5 years. Why is this important? Because they've already seen personal growth works. Obviously, mindset work is the key, but they've also have started to see something is slipping from my fingers. It's like I know all these concepts, I read the books, I'm applying it, but there are things that I just can't. Somehow they skip away from me. Like that next level of intimacy with my partner or my mother, like that next level in my business, like that next level in my fitness. And and some of them have been in personal growth for 40 years. And that is when you realize fear is the key. Like unless you conquer fear, your potential is always going to be more than the one you are experiencing. Your potential is going to be there somewhere, but you are going to be experiencing less because fear is stopping you from fully plugging into your potential. And then is
Yeah.
when fear hacking, whether it's with me or whether it's in your own way, mastering, expanding that contraction, it's key to really unleash all of your potential.
Wow. I mean, I like the way you simplify. I never heard fear is actually kind of easily conquered by the expanding. And I'm sure there will be, much more detailed methods when somebody is in, your workshop. But that itself gives me an idea that yes, when I was a boy, like till 7 years, I was like one of the naughtiest boy. Like I'm always laughing. I just have no fear. I just used to, kind of run behind the dogs, go for cycle races and all. But with the time, exactly, I think probably for a few years, because the conditioning, right? People around us always condition that, hey, you're growing up. You better be, contracting. I mean, they don't say as is, but they say, hey,
Uh-huh.
you better
Uh-huh.
be actually, fall into the norms of the society. And that we try to contract. And it took me more than, like you said, right? Maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 years for me to really break the fear of someone else's judgment, especially when, because I was on a huge, right? It requires a lot of courage, like you did, right? What you did was every time you're stubborn, if somebody is trying to contract you, you kind of break that wall. But it was very difficult for me in the journey where I had to kind of convince so many people. right? Especially when I say like, society, relatives, parents. So I'm seeing if we could equate this simple method called expanding yourself instead of contracting, and contracting equal to fear. I think, I want you guys to actually note it down. This is really the most simplest form of explanation for fear by Loto. And thanks, Loto, for that. But now my question is,
You told me it was simplifying. Your channel is about simplifying, so I try my 21 years of personal growth, mind put into 1 minute. Yes,
yeah.
go from contraction to
It's the biggest thing. I
expansion.
say, like, I've never heard about the explanation for fear like that, but that makes sense. That makes sense, especially because it is physically seen, like the danger, right? In fact, I can say many people out there are in danger of contracting further and further and further, and they think the life is within that contracting zone. And the moment if they take this advice that you gave right now, saying that let me start expanding, they start seeing life, like you said, right? They start spotting that heaven on the earth and start going in the direction. But let me ask this question, right? If they start expanding, there will be so many challenges. Is that an easy journey to really overcome the fear? Or is it something they really need to sustain for a long time? Because it's very common. People start something and they may not see the results immediately, and then they just get back into their old zone. How does that work with this fear?
Yeah, exactly. That's why in the that done for you version, we walk to people through 21 modules, 21 years of personal growth in 21 days. And in the when in the more premium way of working, I actually stay with the people I have the honor to serve for 3 to 6 months until that habit is built. Um, of course, it's gonna be challenging. Why? Because contraction is uncomfortable. Fear is the most contracting emotion that we have, and it's the most uncomfortable, and we are wired to run away from it. Why? Because we are wired to protect ourselves from danger. But until we realize that fear is only here and danger is out there, we run away from fear.
Hmm.
And it's going to be uncomfortable, and it is part to be uncomfortable. But another cool quote, I don't remember the author, unfortunately, but it's if you need life to be comfortable, it will be uncomfortable. If you are willing to do what is uncomfortable, life will be easy. And if you think about it, this is not just a bullshit quote. There is too many quotes there, uh, but it's true. We were born in an uncomfortable manner. I mean, think about it. We were born from a really amazing, miraculous, beautiful, but really, really, really uncomfortable process.
Yeah.
Life is uncomfortable. The problem is not the discomfort. The problem is the addiction to comfort. That is what it's. If you are seeing this 20 years from now, this was what was screwing our society back then, 20 years ago in 2021, in all times when society was still. um, I'm loving playing with this. I would love that you are watching this 20 years from now and this world is already heaven on earth. We are working on this. We are many working on this. But anyway, in this time, 2021, people is addicted to comfort. We want everything one click away, which I think it's amazing. I mean, if we can make it happen, awesome. But there are things that are not one click away. Unleashing your potential is not one click away. Well, it is one click away, but it's one click after one click after one click. And sometimes clicking, it's uncomfortable. Sometimes clicking means looking into your fear right now, like that part of the workshop, the three main fears. Write down what are your main three fears, and then the exercise walk you through and how will be your life, what will be the five main benefits if you will conquer those three fears and every other one, but also how it's going to be your life, what are the three main anti benefits or uh, negative impact if you don't conquer those fears and every other fear. How is your life gonna be impacted? And we need to watch those things. It's not comfortable, but it's a must if we wanna change. So if your life is thriving in every aspect and in every area possible, keep doing what you are doing. And by the way, you are already conquering fear. Like until I started to be obsessed with fear in a healthy way, I believe, I didn't saw anyone talking about fear or almost anyone. And since I started to realize that was the key for freedom, I started to see everyone talks about fear. Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, Eckhart Tolle, Life or Death, Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, everyone who is crushing it consistently talks about fear because everyone has discovered fear is the barrier between limited life and unlimited life. Fear is the barrier between trying to survive or trying to have a good life within a limited version of what life can be, or fully unleashing your purpose and your potential and having a footprint, a really remarkable, beautiful, whether it's more or less famous, but really remarkable footprint in every life that you encounter. So it's a nice journey. Uh, it's a fascinating journey. It's a epic journey. Is it comfortable? No. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. But the point is we will learn to be in love with discomfort, to see it as the trampolines, the accelerators, the catalyzers to really live our potential instead of, oh no, I'm uncomfortable.
I, in fact, totally loved your relevance connected to the taking birth, right? We came to life with one of the most uncomfortable journey for everyone, both for the mother as well as kid, right? It was not easy for the mother to deliver a baby and literally holding for 9 months. It was definitely uncomfortable for our mothers. Second, it was not an easy journey to come out. Till the time you come out, you don't know whether you have life or not. You may have a little bit body, which means we were kind of given exact definition of life, saying that it is going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but you make your strength to meet beyond that, you'll find your life easy. But that is really put beautifully, beautifully, Loto. And if we can live every minute like as if we are taking birth, life is definitely easy, as you said, right? It's just that the key link, like you said, about all these biggest names in the in the world, leaders, they also always talk about fear, saying that yes, I have fear, but I overcame fear. And I think how important it is actually to acknowledge that the fear is there within you for you to really eliminate it. How important it is to acknowledge.
Yeah, actually, the fear hacking method has three pillars, have many aspects, but three main pillars. One is being attention, the second being intention, and the third one being action.
Mm.
And this has two aspects. One is the inner aspect of this attention, intention, and action, and the outer aspect. One is the more um, inner game or the mindset game, and the other one is the actually move your ass and do the things that are gonna make things happen. But the first step in both aspects is attention. Attention
Mm.
is absolutely key. So the first step is giving your attention to those fears.
Okay.
Is to ask yourself what am I afraid of, and realize that we are in general afraid of rejection, and
Mm.
that I'm afraid of, for example, in this couple of years, I went from always having less than I needed for my uh, life. To be honest, it's a little bit embarrassing, but that was my life. That's what I grew up with, and I hadn't transformed it yet. But in less than 2 years, I went from having less than needed every month to having full financial freedom. Like I work because I'm so passionate about, but if I wanted to, there is more money coming in without me doing anything from my conscious investing. I call it investing in companies that are changing the world for the better, but also that they are bringing me more money that I need for living. Um, so going from fear of lack of resources to fear of losing financial freedom. But fear is not even something that is going to go away. Fear, it's contraction. Life is contraction and expansion. We will just be less tolerant to certain level of contraction. Why? Because, um, for example, one of the most challenging relationships for me used to be with my mom. Somehow we loved each other so much, but we had lived so many moments that we didn't knew how to love better or more, that we will react. And since I was 13 until recently, also before I discovered the fear hacking method, we will react as soon as we got together. Like, it was really difficult for us to spend more than 90 minutes together and in harmony. And it's painful when you love someone so much, but you don't know how to stay in love.
Yeah.
It's painful, and I'm sure we all have experienced, hopefully not much, but um, yeah, back then in 2021 it was really normal to have these kind of relationships where we just create pain for each other. Anyway, with the fear hacking method, or in other words, more plainly, it's not about the method, it's about knowing that conquering fear is a must if you want to live fulfilled, and find a way, whichever it is, invent your own way if you want. But we all need to find a way to conquer fear. If not, we know we are going to live in limitation. And that's how I used to live. But you know what's the key? We start to believe, and that's a part of fear that I think is not so obvious. We believe we cannot handle it. That's an ingredient of fear. Any other negative emotion it's uncomfortable, but it's not a wall that we just turn around. I'm sad. Okay, I'm sad. I will still keep going. But when we are afraid, the ingredients that it's add on to that contraction is, I don't have enough resources or strength or intelligence, resources to break through, to overcome this. And then is when we get into this negative limiting loop where it's like, I'm uncomfortable, but I cannot handle it, so I contract more and more and more and more.
Mm.
When you conquer fear, when you understand the nature of fear, that it's only contraction and expansion, you realize you can conquer any fear, not only because you understand it intellectually, which is a really important part, but you have understood that emotionally, and you have understood that with so much action that it has become a habit. So now I encounter my mom again, but now I know I can. I know it won't be easy necessarily, but I know I can. And we went through this couple of situations where the fight was coming out, and but that time I knew, you know what, this is not wrong. This is just the pain that it's inside of us, and it's coming out, mom. It's coming out. I know it doesn't feel good, but this doesn't mean we are hurting each other. It means the pain is coming out. There is a difference. I know this is subtle. I don't know if we have much more time, but let's at least put attention into this since it's what coming up. It's different to create pain for each other than to let the pain come out. When the
Mm.
pain is coming out, it's uncomfortable, but it's energy expanding. It's like, it's painful, it's uncomfortable, but that pain is coming out. When we are creating pain for each other, it's uncomfortable, but we are contracting. We are getting more, yeah, less love. Mm. Um, so with my mom, that started to come out, and our relationship has changed forever. And still now the next challenge is, I want even more intimacy, even more love, even more beautiful, caring conversations with her, and we are working on that. So you are always going to see a new level of area where you perceive contraction, and you know you can hack that,
Mm.
and you'll find a way. So it's not about removing contraction from life. contraction is related to expansion. So there is always a level of contraction. But yes, once you understand this, and once you realize you conquer also in a emotional and pragmatical level how to expand any contraction, the this life is your playground. Everything that you want is possible for you. Any level of well-being, any level of fitness, any level of anything. Even with fitness, we stop practicing fitness because it's contracting, because it's uncomfortable, because it's like, oh, it's too uncomfortable, it's too much. No, it's not too much. You just need to learn to dance with discomfort and to try to learn to expand while you are facing that next level of tension and pressure and contraction, and then you build more strength. So
Wow.
the
I
life is
totally love
yours.
it. So, I mean, I think if I have to really put in three simple words that you really brought out, because so many people can relate to this, with the relationship with the partners, parents, and also kids. All these things are actually literally the life situations, and I'm really more than inspired the way that you're actually dealing with within your personal life. At the same time, honest enough to share with all of us, because one, contraction and expansion, always aim for expansion, and contraction is not negative, by the way. And second thing you mentioned is about, so being finding that discomfort to be part of the process, especially when we are expanding. The pain is actually, if the pain is letting go out of our body, we should let go of. And at the same time, once we let these three processes happening, we should generally find that key formula all by yourself, or just attend fear hack method. I mean, you can do all this by yourself, but otherwise just go ahead and fear hack method, because Loto has been so generous to give this as a gift, just to
Mhm.
make sure that you figure it out how you can do whatever he did over 21 years of his experience. So, if at all, if you find something to really kind of break the barrier, this could be a start. And there is no excuse at all, because it is coming at as a special gift which you don't need to invest at this moment. So, but Loto, is there any final advice that you want to leave to the people before we can conclude this conversation? This is a very important, very interesting conversation. Do you have any final advice?
Yeah, I love how there is so much that we can talk, and I love how you seem like we've been talking about this forever. Like I'm sharing, but you pick it up so quickly and share it like if you were a colleague, mentor for your hacker. Um, Love it. What I want to say is that we are in this together. That if you are watching this in 2041, we became together and we changed the world, and you are living in heaven thanks to everyone who is now conquering their fears and conquering their excuses and doing what it takes to bring insane amounts of love and sustainability into this world. But if you are still in 2021 or around this age, um, we are in this together. Your pain is my pain. There is a famous expression in many spiritual paths, but I think one is from the idea of the bodhisattva in Buddhism that says, um, "No one is fully enlightened until everyone is enlightened." And and I'm doing this because I can't stop myself from doing it, because this is my purpose, my mission. Um, but because I love us humans so much that I will do wherever I can forever to help us, to help you, even if I don't know you, you watching this right now or hearing this right now, to support you unleashing your potential and becoming this amazingly, incredibly inspiring, loving, powerful version of you, because you are here for a reason. You are here with a purpose and a mission, and, and we need you. So devour your fears, devour your excuses, follow yourself, follow your gut, not me, yourself, your gut, and live your purpose, live the life you dream.
Wow. Otto, I want to say a big thank you. Like you said, you can't stop yourself, and I can feel it. We all can see it. You can't stop yourself and actually going out there and help so many more people. And one beautiful thing you said, we are together in this journey. Everybody who is in 2021, who is alive in 2021, we're together in this journey. Let us rise together. Let us rise over fear so that we all find our full expression of life. And thank you so much, Loto, for really coming onto this show, Mind Simplified. I want to say really a big, big thank you. I'm sure viewers found a lot of value in every single word that you spoke about. So, all the viewers, if you enjoy the video, make sure to give it a like or maybe leave a comment. What are your thoughts, views, or if you have any questions? Probably I'll try to take it to Loto and get back to you. But if at all, if you're tuning into the channel for the first time, make sure to click that subscriber button and also ring the bell next to it, because I am dedicated to bring in some of the best experts from all across the world to you so that you simplify your life. But whatever may be the case, if you're going to start the year, you need to overcome the fear. All the handles and most important thing is a fearhackingmethod.com. All those links are in the description. And I strongly recommend you to get there, find your full expression with Loto. And thank you so much for everyone to tuning in. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, Loto.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you.